if I'm not miserable, I'm happy. I don't quite recall where I heard that, whether I read it, or it was in a podcast, or it was in a book, but it stuck with me. And it stuck with me for a number of reasons. I ended up writing an entire essay on this. But what does it mean? If I'm not miserable, I'm happy. See, I believe in this rule of thirds, which means that whichever activity you're doing, building a muscular body, you're working out, you're doing some kind of sport, you're building a business, that 1/3 of the time you will feel great. 1/3 of the time you'll feel sort of like, whatever. And 1/3 of the time you will feel absolutely miserable. And it's fine. In fact, that's how it should be. You play video games because you want to be happy. You seek comfort in them. You eat food for the same reasons. You date women because you seek that happiness. And in a world where we're constantly scrolling on social media and scrolling on Instagram and TikToks, and we see all these images of happy people, married people, rich people, people with supercars, people on a tropical island, drinking from a straw from a coconut with an umbrella in the back, right? Like, we perceive that lifestyle as some sort of utopian happiness where that person surely can't be no happier. And so this creates some sort of a cap where we see this ultimate utopian happiness and we strive for it. We too want to live that life. We too want to stand there on that beach, soaking in the sounds of the ocean and the malaria-ridden mosquitoes and the miserable heat and humidity and, wait a minute, this isn't such a good idea no more. The food is not that good and I got diarrhea yesterday and fuck this tropical paradise. You only see the pictures. You only see the good. You only see what the person wants you to see. Right now, I might be standing with no underwear on me. You don't know. The point I'm trying to make is that the rule of thirds applies to absolutely everything in life. And I know for a fact that I've been working out now for a month and a half, 2 months, and most of the time I'm miserable doing it. Really. In fact, sometimes I go through the rule of thirds within a single workout. I start the workout and I'm feeling like, meh, why'd bother? Then I start getting warmed up. I get these tingles and I feel like, oh, could this be it? And then my body just shuts down. It's like, oh, I'm tired. I don't want to work out no more. And then you push through it. And then you attain that feeling where it's just like your muscles ache, your arteries and all your veins are just pumping blood into your head and you're like, Arnold Schwarzenegger essentially. And then you wake your body. At the end of the workout, you go stand in front of the mirror as you go take a shower and you look at yourself and you're like, holy man, I feel good, And so the topic of happiness is a really tangible one because how do you define it? And should a person seek for it or should he wait for it with open hands? I've decided to use the principle from the book Think and Grow Rich. And I think this book will make a return in many of these videos because it's such a life-changing book. In fact, right now I've not read through it. I've got through maybe 3 chapters. But in essence, what Napoleon Hill, the author of the book, is talking about is that you don't attain riches, you wait for them to come to you. And I believe the same applies to many other things, such as happiness. You don't want to go search for happiness. Like, I'll tell you my mistake. This is an honest mistake that I think a lot of people make, is they search for happiness in a relationship. They find a woman, or they, even worse so, they look for a woman who'll be able to make them feel happy. And what tends to occur is that they enter a state of the so-called honeymoon phase, where they feel they're also in love, they're having sex for maybe the first time in their life, everything's beautiful, everything is in flowers. And that can last a long time. That can go anywhere from a couple of months to half a year. For some people, it could even extend up to a year. And during that time, what tends to happen is that you completely disregard all the other aspects of your life, all the other pillars of your life that are very important, such as your health, right? What you're eating, such as your business or work or career or school, you tend to almost put those on the side because you want to spend more time with her because she makes you feel all these wonderful ways. Now, what tends to occur is that after a certain duration of time, when the fog has, sort of this made and it's just you and her, suddenly you start reflecting on things and you realize that even though you've enjoyed that last year or those couple of months, chances are you haven't done the amount of work that would make you happy in the long run. And so by replacing the instant gratification with delayed gratification, what we can do is we can get that woman, except that she actually stays in our life. And if she doesn't, for whatever reason, well, it doesn't matter. We've become a better person. We're richer. We're stronger. We're, smarter. And all those things, they accumulate. So the idea that was circulated in the book, Think and Grow Rich, was to be open for these riches, right? The author's not saying, go out there and get the money. He's saying, be wishful of it, be mindful of it, right? Desire it, have faith in it, but approach it with open arms, almost like saying, I'm here, I'm ready to receive that which the universe has to give for me, and seize every opportunity that might be given to you. And I combine this sort of theory or hypothesis with the movie Yes Man from Jim Carrey, which I think is an absolute must watch. If you're feeling in a rut, if you're feeling a little bit depressed at any given point in time, that movie is a great thing to get you out of it. If you're an introvert, right? Because I don't really believe in introvertedness that much. I think most people who are introverted are really just shy. They're being pussies. You need to get out there. I think if every introvert did a couple of cold approaches, if every introvert did put a little bit of effort in every single day, I think by the end of the year, you'll no longer be an introvert. And you'll look back and you'll say, oh, well, how did I ever think I was introverted? But that's coming from me, right? And I might be completely wrong here, but that's my experience. I used to be like that. I used to be all closed up and, screwing your arms. I would walk around like this, like, oh, I'm not sure I want to talk to anybody. Like, bro, no. And, the idea of the Yes Man movie, if you have watched it and you need a little bit of a synopsis, it's just Jim Carrey essentially playing a character which is used to saying no to everything. And the movie essentially forces him through this cult, essentially, to say yes to everything. So any opportunity, any question is given to him, hey, do you want to go to do this XYZ activity? It's like, yep, yeah, let's do it. Even if you don't enjoy it, you go out there and you give it a try. A couple of weeks ago, I was at a good friend's place and we were having this conversation in the evening and they said, yeah, we're going bouldering tomorrow. Bouldering is indoor climbing on walls, right? You have those colored grips and you have to climb up. And they were like, yeah, we're doing bouldering tomorrow. And I was like, you know what? I'll come. Let me come with you and we'll give it a try. Truth is, I didn't like it. Like, it was a fun experience, like 6 out of 10, but it was one of those that I'm not going to repeat. Just not my kind of, not my cup of tea, the British would say, but I still gave it a try. And if you don't try it, you won't know. So, I mean, sometimes you just have to give it a try. What's the worst that's going to happen? Well, worst case, I guess I could have broken my leg or sprained my ankle or something like that. But it was a fun experience, a fun day, an eventful day, and a knowledge that was based. It's like I can tick it off the bucket list. I can say, I've tried it. It's not for me. On to the next thing. And so you build life like that. And if you have this open mind, then if nothing else, right, if you're a little bit like me, you're interested by a lot of things. In fact, you're interested by everything. If you have even 5% of my personality, of my character traits, you want to try everything in the world. Sometimes I look at truck drivers and I think, what, I'd love to try that for like 2 months. I'd love to just be a truck driver for 2 months, just to check it off the list and say, I've done that, I've tried it, it's not for me. And you should start doing that. You should start ticking off those items so that you can say, well, this isn't, okay, this might be for me. Because I felt the same way about working out. In a million years, I wouldn't go to the gym. Now if somebody says, hey, you want to hit the gym? I'd be like, you know what? I don't have a ticket, but fuck it, let's go. Because I've given it a try. I did the same thing with cycling. In the last 4 years, I've done 40,000 kilometers. That's 10,000 kilometers per year on the bike. And 6-7 years ago, I hated cycling. I was like, what's the point of this? It's just painful, it's miserable, it's like, just take a car. So it's bizarre how things change once you give them a try. Once you sort of commit yourself to them. And there's this beauty in commitment. But again, keeping in mind the rule of thirds. Even on the bike, even on the computer, even anything I've ever done ever has had that rule of thirds. From dating to business to, all aspects have always had this trilogy. And there is something unique about the rule of three. So what I want you to take from this video today is the rule of thirds. I want you to remember the reality that when you're next doing an activity, whether it's your business or your love life or working out or anything it might be, and you're feeling miserable, you're feeling devastated, you're feeling unhappy, remember that it might just be delayed gratification, that you might just be sacrificing your momentary happiness for something far, far more eternal, far more beneficial, far greater, far better in the long run. Don't stop, keep grinding, take care, and safe flying.